Today, I want to address this meme that Turning Point USA put out. It's a picture of George Clooney and it says, "So let me get this straight. When a CEO makes $1 million, it's greed. Yet when a liberal actor makes $20 million, he's earned every penny." And yes, this is blatant hypocrisy. This is a contradiction. But I want to explain the contradiction. I want to explain the perception and explain why people come to this conclusion. First off, I do occasionally see celebrities like actors, musicians, and athletes get condemned a little bit on this level. It's usually some virtue signaling meme or message about how backwards America is because rappers will make millions of dollars while teachers are so underpaid. And to that I say, if you really care about teachers making more money, then how about next time you go out to buy a concert ticket or next time you go out to buy your favorite football team's jersey, how about instead you save that money and give it to your kid's teacher or donate it to your local school? But nobody ever does that because saying things is a lot easier than doing things. This does not mention the fact that Chance the Rapper and Dr. Dre were applauded recently for donating large sums of money to their local schools. But back to the Turning Point USA meme, I think the biggest reason for this is because when assessing celebrities like athletes, actors, and musicians, their talent is obvious. Their value is obvious. George Clooney is a great actor. He's good looking. And his name is likely a box office draw. Or take a musician like Beyonce. She will sell out any venue she's booked at, and her music sales are always through the roof. Or take an athlete like LeBron James, whose team is in the NBA Finals every single year. A celebrity's value is clear, it's obvious. For the most part, a corporate executive's value is not so obvious. In fact, given how Citizens United is often discussed, I'm sure that a lot of progressives and social justice warriors don't even think of corporations as people, but rather evil organizations like Hydra or Cobra or the Legion of Doom. Celebrities are viewed as individuals who are really talented and are simply capitalizing on their talent, and thus have earned every penny that they have made. Forget the fact that many of these celebrities are paid by big corporations. LeBron James is paid by Dan Gilbert, who's the CEO of a mortgage company. Oh no, big banks, woo! George Clooney is paid by big movie studios whose projects are financed by corporate product placement, which are often screened in large movie theater chains or are streamed on services like Netflix, Google, and Amazon. Beyonce is paid by big record labels and sells out arenas that are named after big corporations. But for the most part, the perception of CEOs is, at best, that they're all Wall Street fat cats that sit in large, comfy leather chairs in boardrooms and don't do any real work. The corporate executives, they just read and sign some paperwork, they sit back and smoke cigars, they might raise their hands to vote on something, and they might order around their beautiful underpaid secretaries. After all, it's the workers, it's the blue-collar workers that assemble the cars, it's the workers that dig the trenches, it's the workers that lay the bricks and lay the pipes. Hell, it's the workers that risk their lives and brave the weather to build these magnificent skyscrapers that these corporate executives have their comfortable board meetings in. Nevertheless, while backbreaking work certainly is more physically exhausting than sitting in a boardroom, a CEO's talent is more valuable to the company. As Don Watkins points out in Equal is Unfair, CEOs matter. The wrong CEO can sink a company. The right CEO can raise a company to great heights. And even the marginal difference made by the typical CEO can be more than enough to justify an extraordinary pay package. Watkins goes on to say, "None of this is to deny that some CEOs get paid more than they're worth. Again, determining what a CEO is worth to a company is really, really hard, and it's always possible to make mistakes. A company can hire an incompetent CEO or structure a pay package that rewards executives for short-term profits at the expense of the company's long-term welfare. But a company suffers from such mistakes. Shareholders earn less, managers need to be fired, and competitors gain market share. In a free society, the right to make decisions about pay rests with the owners who bear the consequences of those decisions and therefore have every incentive to make good decisions. Even if it were true that top incomes were being increased beyond an amount that was justified by executive productivity as a result of corporate governance failures, this would be a problem a free market could and eventually would solve.
You know, you think that the people who run things are sitting at home smoking big cigars and like telling their minions what to do. It's like, that's like the 1920s millionaire that's on the cover of the Monopoly game. That's no sociological analysis. I know lots of people like that, and they work all the time, from the second they wake up to the second they go to sleep. You just have no idea the amount of responsibility that comes along with that. You just imagine for a minute trying to run a billion-dollar corporation. You can't even bloody well balance your checkbook, and there's dust bunnies underneath your bed. How in the world would you ever run a billion-dollar corporation? Those things are complicated, and you have enemies, and they're trying to take you out all the time. You look at Apple and Samsung, man, they're just torturing each other in the courts nonstop. You know, if you're running a big corporation, you'll be handling 200 or 300 lawsuits at a time. And that's just nothing compared to the complexity of what you actually have to do. Stay on top of the technology, constantly interact with your large customers, travel all the time because you have to maintain the relationships. You have to regulate the politics inside the business. Believe me, it's no picnic.
And again, this is the perception of the best corporate executives. Worse off, many perceive corporate executives as greedy scumbags that will gladly fire underpaid workers to make profits, will push harmful products like cigarettes and fast food, and will dump toxic waste into rivers without a care in the world. While there is the occasional Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, and Thornton Mellon, business people and corporations, for the most part, are perceived as villains in the pop culture. Now, there is some appreciation for corporate juggernauts like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, but I think this is mainly for two reasons. One, like celebrities, their value is obvious. Everyone loves iPhones and MacBooks and Amazon Prime same-day shipping and electric cars and reusable rockets, which they can fairly credit to the entrepreneurs that made them possible. And secondly, they were responsible for starting their own companies. Steve Jobs started Apple, Jeff Bezos started Amazon, and Elon Musk started Tesla Motors. Contrast this with the Rockefeller family, the Waltons, and the Koch brothers, all of whom are perceived as rich kids simply riding the coattails of their respective families, even though the Koch brothers took a multi-million-dollar company and turned it into a $100 billion empire, which is no easy feat. And lastly, I think that corporations are simply taken for granted. Hollywood is sexy. Watching a movie like The Avengers makes me feel good right now. So thanks, Robert Downey Jr. You were awesome as Tony Stark, and I don't think anyone could have played that role better than you. But everyday products like toilet paper? Well, thanks, David S. Taylor, CEO of Procter & Gamble, for giving me something to wipe my ass with. Is it hot outside? Well, thanks, Gregory Hayes, CEO of Carrier, for providing me with good air conditioning. With that said, the difference between celebrities and CEOs can be boiled down to this. Corporate CEOs are often trying to sell you products, like light bulbs and toothpaste, whereas celebrities are often selling you themselves in one form or another. When I buy Eminem's latest album, that's something I'm going to enjoy thousands of times before I die. That's something I can accurately attribute to Marshall Mathers. Yet when I buy a light bulb or a toothbrush, I don't know the name of the CEO who runs the company that produced the light bulb and the toothbrush. Therefore, the celebrity's value is much more clear than the CEO's. And I know it's fun to shit on liberals for their hypocrisy and their flawed logic, but I think the real solution to this problem is more celebration of good CEOs and successful corporations and less demonization of selfishness.